Michael.Yon here. We appear to be live. Tell me how the sound is. Today is 20 March 2020, 17:05 local time here in Chiang Mai, Thailand. And lots and lots going on here. Get to your hard points. I've been saying that for a long time, since about January. U.S. State Department just started saying it. U.S. citizens, if you're going to get home, you better get home. United States State Department is saying that now. You need to get home if you want to be in the United States. Otherwise, hunker down in place wherever you're at in the world. You see those people in Morocco, American citizens, now begging the United States government for help. They should have been watching my page for all this time. Had they been watching my page, they would have known they should have been home a long time ago. And tell me if you see if the audio is coming in. Good. Judy Campbell says good. Chris Madden says sounds fine. Good. Look, the U.S. citizens who are stranded in Morocco will be representative of U.S. citizens all over the world who weren't watching my Facebook, or who watched it, or my YouTube, or wherever, when I'm on the John Batchelor show or other interviews I do. Maybe they just didn't take it seriously. Maybe they thought I was crazy again. There will be U.S. citizens and other citizens all over the world who are going to be trapped right now. Get to your hard points. If you're not there yet, you are late. You need to get there if you can get there. California just locked down. We all know that, right? How long have I been saying this is going to happen? The entire United States and Europe are going to lock down, right? It's happening. It's not here in Thailand yet, but it's coming soon. Thailand is going to lock down. The world is going to lock down in many, many different places. The world is the new Hubei province. Bit by bit, things are going to lock down. If you're not there yet, and all these U.S. citizens who are out doing cruises and all this sort of stuff, and it doesn't matter if you're a U.S. citizen, but you got no right at some point to get on and say, hey, Air Force, please send me an airplane. You get it? We're at war. This is big boy and girl rules. This is, you screw up now, you may die. It's that simple. Does that make you scared? Well, then you should be scared. If that scares you, then you should be scared. You know, there's people out there saying that, hello in Florida, there's people out there saying that we shouldn't teach children social distancing because it'll scare the children. Well, hello. We're talking about a disease that they can bring it home and kill their mom and dad with it, and kill their grandparents, and kill themselves. And they don't want to scare the kids. Why do you think kids should be taught about the big bad wolf? Because there really are big bad wolves that'll eat the children, right? There really are. Like, stay away from that big dog. When you're in Florida, I grew up in Florida around alligators. Hey, you're a little kid. Stay away from the lake. That gator will get you just like it got that dog last week, right? It's no joke. That's why I can spot a gator like that. I can walk up to a lake and say, there's a gator right there. It's a survival mechanism for me to spot danger like that, especially alligators, because I used to swim in those lakes. All right, man, this is it. If you're not at your hard point now and you plan to get there, you better get on with it, because at this point you may be walking. And if it involves swimming across the Atlantic or Pacific Oceans, I'm going to guess you're not going to make it unless you know somebody with a big boat and they'll just take you out there. If I had a big yacht right now, I would be out on that yacht somewhere out in the middle of the sea. I would be fishing for swordfish. There's probably somebody out fishing for swordfish right now going, hey, that's where we're at right now. We're actually in the middle of the ocean, way far away. If you don't have one of those boats, then tough luck. And because I don't have one, so that's tough luck for me. Right. Now, Jim Patterson says, there are 50 million homeless and refugees worldwide. Their future does not look good. Everything you said is coming true. Absolutely. There's a lot more than 50 million homeless. But there's a lot of people around the world that will absolutely be stuck. The state of California estimates that how many? 25.5 million residents, about 56%, will become infected. Let that sink in. That's California. I have a friend who's sick in Los Angeles right now. Maddie, who's been on my show twice now, my friend in Colorado. Her condition has worsened in Denver. We've been chatting today. Her spirits are high, but her physical condition has worsened. She's in Colorado, Maddie is. My other friend down in Los Angeles does not actually even have a thermometer. And when she tried to get a thermometer, everything is sold out. Remember, I've been saying for a long time now, get thermometers. My thermometers are in a different room. Anyway, if you have a chance now, apparently they're sold out of the stores. But get yourself thermometers. And write down your base temperatures. I want to say it again. Get to your hard point. I should be on the John Batchelor show on Monday with Gordon Chang, but let's see how long that lasts. How long, hopefully they'll be on. Now, again, if you are away from your home, now's a chance to learn how to live like I've lived for many years in strange countries. Believe it or not, you'll be able to get by if you're calm and you use your thinking processes. You'll be fine. Even if you're in Morocco. I've never been to Morocco. A lot of my friends have been there. Should be quite safe. Moroccan people are great people, friendly to Americans, friendly to people in general. I haven't been there, but I know that Morocco is a very safe place. Or all around the world. You should be safe if you use your common sense, generally speaking. I could get by. I could get by over in, Afghanistan. I would be living in a village by now, I'd be fine. So now let's talk about a few things. I am going to take questions. Now I'm getting a huge amount of email and private traffic. I want to ask you, beg you, please keep it to a bare minimum. Only send messages that are actually vitally important, because this is wartime rules again. Every time I get into a wartime situation, I get so many messages that really vital stuff gets lost in there. So keep it to a bare minimum. Try to be bullet points, really short sentences, like single thought sentences, not without commas and stuff. Just like I should never have to read it twice. It needs to be crystal clear, like exactly what you're saying, like bang, 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 bang. And I go, okay, I need to answer this, or bang, 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 bang. Okay, thank you. I'm not going to answer. It'll take too much time. I appreciate you understanding that I won't even answer everything. There's just too much, and I don't want to miss vital traffic, because a lot of vital traffic does come in. Now, I am going to take questions, but I want to say something. A lot of people also are sending messages that they are very thankful that they stocked up in advance because they've been watching my site. And I got several today, again, like I do every day, that said, I thought you were crazy in the beginning, but now I see that you're not. Yeah, that's been my life for a long time. And so, there's some people that take me at face value every time. Like when I called my sister and I said, Susan, this one's real again. She's like, uh-oh, what's going on this time? And I said, I'm sure you've noticed, but this was way back in January. So she immediately is like, okay, let's prepare. Because she knows if I call her up and say, hey, this is real, pay attention, and I get to this tone of voice, she's like, okay, every time. Or if she calls me, the same thing, because I take her. She's always accurate. Now, others will say, what about Ebola? What about Zika, whatever? What about this? What about swine flu, whatever? Look at my history. You'll notice I don't bring, how much have I ever brought up swine flu and that sort of thing? I'll mention it sometimes, like, oh, China's they had a problem with the swine flu. I never told anybody to go stock up for swine flu. When you look back to 2014 on Ebola, I found two things that I posted on Ebola. It's got to be more than that. I did so much homework on the Ebola before I published these two things. I did a lot of homework, talked with a lot of experts, but I found two paragraphs that I published. And one is, here it is, Ebola. This was 2014. If the experts I have spoken with are correct, the Aussies and others should be preparing to take care of the home front. Ebola is already out of control in Africa, which it was and still is, and it's too late for some countries, which it was and still is, if the experts are right. And they were right. When this hits places like densely populated India, the sky is the limit. This disease has the potential to topple governments, which can lead to famine and to war. We shall know soon enough. Bottom line. Now, what really came out of that? Everybody clamped down on it. It didn't spread into India, and it did lead to famine. It actually did. It didn't lead to global famine, but in those areas, and the wars are still going on. So the Ebola and the wars are inextricably linked. So these things actually did happen. They're just not on a lot of people's radars, and they didn't reach us because we clamped down on them. But if you look at old stories, Ebola's been a long going. It's still an ongoing story. If Ebola, it's a serious illness. But notice I don't bring it up because I don't see that as a proximate and immediate threat to us. I just keep that in the background. I keep it programmed into my Google Net Alerts. If you don't use Google Net Alerts, you should. I'll tell you what those are. I said one other thing on Ebola. Governments who are permitting this gross negligence should be voted out or pushed from power. Flights to highly infected areas should be halted for anything other than crucial business or to help contain this or slow it down. Millions of lives are at risk, and they were. Governments can fall. Look up Ebola. And war and famine can follow. This is extremely serious. It was. Actually, many bad things have come from that. They didn't reach us because, or more or less, because basically people did a lot of stuff to try to halt it, which has not been completely successful, but it kept it from getting to our shores. But notice, you didn't see me coming on doing live feeds and saying, stock up, here comes Ebola. You never saw, I don't think I said a word about swine flu other than China's having a problem with swine flu or whatever, or H5N1. I've got H5N1, programmed into my net alerts and that sort of thing. I pay attention to it. I'm watching it, but I'm not bringing it to your attention because it hasn't risen to that level, and my credibility is paramount. And so I want to make sure that when I bring something to your attention, it will be accurate, or at least worth bringing to your attention to the point where I'm actually risking wasting your time and mine, or it's just really important. And so let's see a few things to talk about. I see a lot of people, comparing things to chess matches. For instance, war is often compared to a chess match, or comparing this virus to a chess match. But, the fight against the virus, or we're going to defeat the virus. We're not going to defeat the virus. There's not going to be anything here in time to do it. The only thing that's left is it's going to burn through it, and we're already playing completely defensive ball here. We are defending our organs. Our ribs are already broken, right? We're defending organs. We're covering our heads right now. We're not punching back at the virus. I mean, we're completely defensive. And we can mitigate our damage by being very smartly defensive. There's still many chances for people to stock up on food. There's still many chances for people to make sure their water situation is secure. I was just talking with Catadine on the phone about 30 or 45 minutes ago about this very thing. Like, I was asking them, what about using reverse osmosis filters, for instance, in swimming pools and that sort of thing, which you can use. I knew that, but I was asking them about their filters, and you'll need electricity for that. You can use it from the sea. Actually, you should. I mean, if you'll need electricity. You might have to use solar panels, but if you have, a lot of hot, you can actually make water from the sun if you're just a single family. But obviously, you're not going to be able to do that for the whole city of Miami either. Good morning in Chiang Mai. So, but if this were a chess match if war were a chess match and we are at war, it would be more like this. The virus wakes up one day. First of all, we're all viruses and bacteria and all kinds of epidemics and pandemics, and whether it's Lyme disease or whatever. Notice I never bring up Lyme disease. I never bring up these things that are not existential threats to us. I don't bring up AIDS, HIV, and all that. That's killed 39 million people, and there is no vaccine for it. There's no vaccine for it. Excuse me. There's no vaccine for. I touched my eye, but I haven't. I'm completely sanitary here. And what is going on here? Yeah, I'm completely sanitary here, by the way. Like, this place is like a hospital. But the bottom line is that these diseases are constantly hitting us, and I don't bring them to your attention unless there's something important about it, which is not often. But if we were to use a chess analogy, this would be sort of like anybody here play chess? I used to play like mad, right? I mean, this would be like the Roy Lopez opening, if you know what I'm talking about. He's an Italian chess player. It'd be like, it'd be something like, I don't know, like pawn to E4, however his opening would go, and then, expect the E5 response or whatever. It's like, this is not how it goes. How it really goes is the virus opens up while you're asleep, and then it takes another move, and then it takes another move. Like in combat, then it takes another move. The virus has made 20 moves, right? Before somebody even goes, wait a minute, this thing just cleaned off all my pawns. you wake up and it's gone, E4, knight to F3. It's gone, it's gone everything. It's gone, put snipers on F7. It's done all the openings and, it's got you in checkmate. And then finally, China flips the board and says, you're cheated. It's America that did it. But meanwhile, with this virus, it becomes beyond that. Now we've got political issues in the United States, economic and financial issues that can be amazing. We see the United States now. Recently, you saw that the Hong Kong government saying that, they're ready to do helicopter money, distribute money to Hong Kong citizens, which to my knowledge, they haven't done. My Hong Konger friends say they haven't gotten it. But the United States is looking at possibly doing that very soon, like $1,000 a month per citizen, maybe $1,200. I don't know. And why? Obviously, they're saying why is to prop the economy up, but I know why. Because we know that in the United States, the potential for actual really serious civil unrest is quite severe. The United States is not Hong Kong. United States is not Taiwan. United States is not Japan. United States is not Thailand. I'm not worried about Thailand getting into a massive civil war suddenly. But the United States, it could do it. And now, does that sound crazy? I've been saying this for many, many years, at least way back in the late 80s and 90s. It's very clear. Now, this virus is going to ravage first. We got to go through this, and then there might be a second wave that's even a lot worse. It's not going to go away. We're not going to have a vaccine soon. There's not going to be... confirmation bias is a great enemy, and it's easy for people. We all want to hear good news. We're thirsty for great news. We're super thirsty for good news. And so if somebody comes out and says it's just the flu, it's almost like the virus is in their ear and it's using them to spread itself. The virus goes, tell them it's just the flu. All right. And then they go, it's just the flu. Tell them that warning people is paranoid. You're just paranoid. The virus is whispering. Tell them, don't make people panic. You're panicking. You're panicking. You're making people panic. The virus is like doing that to people's ear. Does that sound freaky? If it does, it gets your attention and it works. So bottom line is the virus is almost like, it's one of those viruses that makes people, it's like the first thing that the devil does is what? Convince you that he doesn't exist, right? The first thing the devil does is he walks in and he goes, I'm just the flu. And people go, Jedi mind trick. He's just the flu. Come on in, flu. We're used to the flu. Have a seat, flu. Have a seat. And other people are like, what? It's just the flu. The flu can have a drink here, and everybody's like, yeah, keep going to the bars. Go to spring break. Yeah, it's just the flu, right? And then it hits all the nursing homes. And the next thing you know, our nursing homes throughout the United States are empty of people because the great majority are dead. Or a huge percentage. This is very ultimately serious and actually could lead. Now, I say that the United States can end up in a civil war because it is actually true and the threat is not minimal. And so we need to be prepared and do everything possible to preclude this from happening. And this is going to sweep across the United States so fast and that it's going to make people's heads spin. Remember, since January, I've said cut off all flights. I said cut off all flights from China, cut off all flights from Europe. I've been saying this loud and clear since January. Cut off all flights from everywhere into the United States. And I know it's very damaging for the economy, but look what's about to happen. The economy is going to get smashed anyway, but it's going to get smashed on the virus's terms. We've lost the initiative. The initiative belongs to the virus. At this point, we're just protecting our organs. And I highly recommend that you protect your family and stock up on food. There's still chances, right? And you can order it. You can order it to your house. And if you're in the United States, and also many other here in Thailand, you can order it to your house. You can do it in Hong Kong and many other places. You can order it in Japan. You can order it to your house, and you don't have to go out. And the more you have, the less you have to go out. And this is, they're estimating that 56%. Think about that. 56% of Californians will become infected. 56%. That's 25.5 million people just in California. 40 million people in California. We might have 330 million people in the United States. Our hospitals will soon be overrun coast to coast and in every little village and hamlet. And from sea to shining sea, all of our hospitals are going to be filled up, period. All the mass units from the military are going to be overwhelmed, period. There's not going to be any squeaky room like we got some extra space over here, unless you're out on some boat way offshore somewhere, and I highly suggest you don't come home. Or if you do, you wear a hazmat suit for resupply, and then you get right back on your boat and you sail back out to sea. Joshua, check my email. I'll check it. Poor Italy. Well, it's about to be poor everywhere, Pam. Let me see what is coming through my. Hey, Jamie, up in Canada. I hope everything's good. And my niece just got in from Yorktown in Canada. She's going to go to medical school up there, but now she's back in Thailand and she's in quarantine. And so let's see here. Oh, numerous important emails coming in, and including one from Catadine. Let's see here. Some information in. So the United States government, by the way, is also saying to get home. Well, I've been saying it since January. Let's see what this says. This is from, I can't read this one because I won't be, I think I better not read it. I'll have to summarize it because it's, anyway, bottom line is it's telling you what I'm telling you. The Colorado information. I tell you what, I'll just come back on live later and tell you more about what this says. And all kinds of things going on. What I would highly recommend is that you be prepared for a long sit-in, and be prepared. Hey, if you want to, we'll fast together. I don't know how fasting will go with our immune systems. I do not know. And so I'm not recommending that you do something that would compromise your immune system. I don't know if it will or not. But if you know that you are isolated, and you know that nobody has come into your house in a long time, and you haven't left in a long time, then you're not infected, then we can fast together. Like, for instance, if you're running low on slots, if anybody starts sending me messages or posting messages like, hey, I'm out of food, I need some of that fasting advice, I'll fast with you. We'll do it right here. We'll start the clock, and make sure you got candles, by the way. We'll start the clock on fasting, and we'll fast together. And I'll give you hints for not being hungry. And I've gone 20 days with no food. It's no problem. And so, yeah. And let's take some questions here. I want to read a few headlines that I saw. There's so much going on. Everybody can see them as well as I can. Everything going on around the world. Police, parents struggle to herd the young in virus outbreak. That's in Houston. Oh, so much going on. Before virus outbreak, a cascade of warnings went unheeded. That's New York Times, you think, or 9/11, when people like me were like, hey, they're going to attack us. They're going to attack us. And then the second plane hits the building. I'm like, there you go. All right, let's answer questions. Hey, look at this idiot, Keith Smith. Stop the fear mongering. You're part of the problem. All right, Keith Smith, you are officially an idiot. You are officially an idiot. I really don't care, man. Go run off. Run down the road naked. Speaking of which, I highly suggest... let's get to this one. Keith Smith, idiot. Jenny Jen saying, but no medicines left now. There you go. That's for you, Keith Smith, idiot. Let's just call things what they are, as Confucius would say. Call things what they are. Keith Smith, you're an idiot. Right. And if you haven't gotten your pharmaceuticals, which I've been warning about since January, could be too late for a lot of people. China has been threatening to cut off our pharmaceuticals. They haven't yet, but remember, we're competing with the entire world on pharmaceuticals, and China may cut off our pharmaceuticals. And we're getting into an increasing fight with China. When President Trump called this the Chinese virus, that was in response to China blaming this on us, blaming the virus on us, right? I think China has made so many strategic errors in this, and they finally have angered President Trump to the point where he's actually calling it the Chinese virus. If they're paying attention to Trump's behavior and his patterns in the past, that was a growl. That was a growl before the bite. He just growled at him when he said Chinese virus. Now, the United States is facing an incredible threat like we've never even faced in our history at all, period. Where was a bigger threat? U.S. Civil War, 1861 to 1865? I can't think of a bigger threat. World War I? Nope. World War II? Nope. I think maybe back in the Civil War might be the only threat that's this big. I think this is bigger. And so now President Trump realizes that. And now China, in addition to unleashing this on the world, which will probably kill tens of millions of people, Keith Smith, you idiot, and will lead to wars for sure. And it will lead to political strife and civil unrest all over. Who knows where, but it will. Rest assured. And President Trump, nor the United States of America, people like me, we're in no good mood to put up with any dog shit from China. I mean, we are in no mood whatsoever. We are ready to bring pain. And if they cut off our pharmaceuticals, rest assured, they've already threatened us. So the damage is done on that. Now, the only thing that's left is they either do it or they don't, right? They've already threatened that they're going to cut off our pharmaceuticals, which would lead to huge numbers more of Americans dying. If they do that, of course, we can affect their food supplies. And, Chinese are famous for eating each other. Look it up. And so, so there we go. Yeah, we'll call it the Wuhan virus or Xi's disease or Chinese virus. So there we go. I'm glad Tommy Barrios just reloaded all your VA prescriptions. Excellent. China virus. Yeah, call it anything but what the WHO calls it or what, that's it. Yes, it's called. Yeah, I like it. We're not letting them out. Remember, as soon as WHO tried to rename this to whatever they tried to rename it to, I immediately, within like 30 minutes, I was online going, I do not accept that name. It is the Wuhan virus. It is Xi's disease. Xi's disease. I like it. Rolls off the tongue like poison. It's going to be bad. And so, but if we're mentally prepared for it, and everybody is physically prepared by stocking up their food, making sure you got water security, making sure you got prescriptions that you have. If you're in a place like Los Angeles, highly suggest you got lots of ammo. But if you got another place to live, well, they just locked down California. If you didn't get to your hard point, remember, I was saying just, many, many times, if you're in California and you got a home or in Colorado or something, highly suggest you get yourself in the U-Haul and get over there. A little late now. Maybe you can still get out. I don't know. But it's definitely Xi's disease. And let's see. Let's try to answer any questions. And if an idiot comes on here and says you're fear-mongering or causing panic or something like that, I'm just going to go ahead and put their name up there and publicly call them an idiot because we don't have time for idiots. This is as serious as it gets, and we need to stop glad-handing. And when somebody calls, like one of my friends that I've trusted for years, it kept doubling down on flu, and I'm like, you're blocked. I don't have time for you. We'll be friends after the war. But during the war right now, you're part of the problem. You're my friend, but have a nice day. You're not going to come on my pages and tell people it's just the flu. This is not just the flu. You're blocked. Yeah, we've been friends for years, and you're blocked. It's that simple. You're wrong. You're wrong, and saying stuff like that goes right into kids' eyes and ears, and then and then they're off on spring break, doing what kids do on spring break, or they're teenagers, and they're bringing it back into the home. And it's going to cause a lot of death. It's not even a question. It's just a matter of how much. Hog Dog or Susie, State Department is recommending that those Americans who are abroad Be prepared to remain abroad for protracted periods of time. Those who do come home will have to be quarantined. Yes, absolutely. Right. And, the United States, we have lost the initiative. We're still don't test, don't tell. We're a little late on the testing thing. I'm not sure what good that's going to do at this point. It's like testing people for bullet holes after they're bleeding out of every orifice. So not that this disease makes you do that. Some do. Right. Let's go and try to answer as many questions as possible. Hey, Iris, and thank you for the support. Thank you, everybody else who supported me, which is like 5 people in the last week. Obviously, I'm not going to get much support with the economy tanking. I need it as much as anybody, especially when this virus is going to come through. It's going to kill tons of Americans and others. It's just going to kill millions of people around the world, probably tens of millions. Remember, the second wave may be the worst. That's what the infectious disease experts tell us. And the chance of civil unrest in the United States is significant to the point where, well, I have a feeling I'll have to come home soon. And so, and if I do, I'll be going coast to coast to see what the situation is. Hey, Russ, and let's see about any questions that are actually within my capacity to answer. Yeah, Dojo. Hey, Michael from Canada. Yeah, people are slow learners. Right, they are. Hey, I do have some maple syrup, by the way. Did you know Canada has a maple syrup reserve? I am not even kidding you. They actually do have a maple syrup. Actually, you know what? I think John Batchelor did a special, not a special, but he did a whole show on the maple syrup reserve heist, I think. You look up John Batchelor. I go on the John Batchelor show twice a week with John and Gordon Chang, and sometimes Thaddeus McCotter when he comes on. It's like they're super smart group there. And one time, John Batchelor had a show on the maple. I think it was like the maple syrup heist. Maple syrup is worth so much money that people actually, and Canada really does have a maple syrup strategic reserve, right? And so people like stole tons of it. You can look it up online. It's like, it'll give you kind of a funny read. But hello in Hong Kong, Iris. I super thank you for the support and all the other about 5 people in the last week. It is really helpful. Let's see. Cyprus, Texas, 07507 in the morning. Hello in Australia and Florida. And good morning from Minnesota. It's cold in Minnesota. Carol, there's going to be some people are going to be hysterical no matter what. But if you look at me in combat, like my old videos, it's not take my word for it or take my photos or writing for it. You can look at videos of me bullet snapping that close. Snap, 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 snap. And I'm like, what's for lunch? So you won't see me hysterical. I'll just be like, look at all these fools. You know what I'm saying? It's like I've been warning people since January, though. And, I do take these things seriously because everything's on the line here. My line in the sand, Roger Viking is asking, will be, if the United States gets into serious civil unrest, surely I'll be back, 100%. However, I have to get back. I don't know how I'm going to get back. I mean, I have to get back somehow. Sooner or later, I can find a way to get there. Might take a lot of effort, but I'm pretty resourceful. I might even have to get on a container ship or something. I don't even know, but I'll figure it out. That's me. But first, I'm going to let this water go through. The water. I'm going to let this virus go through, and obviously, and everybody needs to be at their strong point and let this first wave go through. And then we may, if the infectious disease experts, they, believe that there could be a second wave, which could be a lot worse. This is the first wave, which can kill loads of people. Well, it already is. I mean, remember just yesterday, 475 people, I think it was, or 77 or something like that, died in just Italy. And Italy has a population of about, and that was in one day. that they died in one day, almost 500. Let's say 500 for round numbers died in one day of the disease. That doesn't include people that died from other stuff. If you look at the army vehicles over in Italy, they're like lined up with coffins. I mean, have you seen the video of the convoy taking the bodies? Remember, in Iran, they were just digging mass graves. And that's why just recently I was talking about that on my page, and people are like, oh, you're going to cause people to panic. Here's reality. The reality is, if you're not hunkered down, you'll be in one of those coffins. It's a really good chance. Maybe not, maybe so. Most people actually that get it, at least 80% are getting it through it fine, right? And then there's others that have severe symptoms, and only maybe, 1 or 2, 3%. I don't know how many are dying. Nobody actually knows, because nobody knows how many are getting it. Even the experts don't know. But some very small percent actually die. But it is causing the economy to grind to a halt, and the global financial systems grinding to a halt, and causing huge political problems. And so it's going to already prisoners are being released. Remember, I was saying things like this back in January and February. What are we going to do when this goes through prisons? Iran released like 70,000 prisoners. What are we going to do when the police don't come to work? You're going to be on your own, defending yourself. That's why I like to have a bunch of, like ex-soldiers and stuff, and cops and stuff as my neighbors, doctors and that sort of thing. People that can, bring something to the table. I'll bring defense and you bring medicine. You know what I mean? That sort of thing. Let's see here. Judy is saying Massachusetts and New Hampshire activated National Guard. It appears that our states will do what Governor Newsom has ordered in California, a shelter in place, ammo sales very high at Walmart, Bass Pro, and Cabela's the past few days. I'll bet you. Hello, Uda in Germany. Anna Stump King, Palm Beach County, and now on ordered quarantine of all non-essential businesses. I want to say again, all these restaurants and bars are going to be closed all coast to coast and across Europe and here in Thailand and everywhere else. Go call them up or whatever. Go online to their website and say, hey, you got some inventory you want to sell. They need the money, and we don't want that inventory to go bad in their freezers and refrigerators and everything else. I mean, imagine a local restaurant that's got thousands of dollars worth of inventory, and now this is somebody that's like, man, I'm losing my house. I'm losing my restaurant. At least we can help them out by cashing them out, and help ourselves by getting their grits, right? And so it can help everybody. So think out of the box. People that have got things that they don't need, we can start trading. Like, what are they going to do with that inventory? They don't need it. So we can start thinking out of the box. Hotels, for instance, that may have restaurants that will have extra food. Call them up. Hey, you got some extra food? I'll buy it. And everybody will benefit from this. I would imagine, Nadeem, I am in Chiang Mai, Thailand. China virus. I would imagine that. Let me see. Stargazer. Okay. Stargazer saying, Mike, if you have time, the time to pay attention to Hong Kong will be confirmed cases just jump these couple of days. Most of them are imported cases. I don't see the virus slowing down until full lockdown. Oh, yeah. I keep saying now, Hong Kong has done a great job. Not the government sucks, but the people, the cultural discipline of the people. And I just got off the phone with Singapore, and people in Hong Kong who are, really paying attention, and Singapore likewise, and Taiwan, and they know. And by the way, I might have Yoko on from Japan here soon. I'll have to go offline and call her again, and then we'll get her back on. But like Hong Kong and Singapore are going to get hit. They are just doing it more on their terms, right? They're going to get hit. There's no way. You're not going to avoid getting hit. There's no way. If you're on the space station, you're going to get hit. You're going to get hit because your ground control is going to get hit. And so, and by the way, Maddie's condition again has actually gotten worse, and she's 22. Let me see if she sent any messages. She's in Denver, and another friend of mine, she's in Los Angeles. Her condition has gotten worse this morning as well. Let's see. Let's see here. Righty. if she has sent any messages. Oh, I don't see. Let me see. Hopefully she's even awake. I think she did. Oh, here we go. Oh, my friend Cody, who's a friend of Maddie's as well. He's in Australia. Let's see. Okay, everything's good to go. It's not important to say. But yeah, I'm gonna. Gary says let Yoko talk this time. When I get her on my show, I'll let her talk the whole time. When I'm on her show, I was talking the whole time. But like when I had Maria on yesterday in Italy, notice people were actually getting upset that I didn't talk enough while she was on. Because if I invite somebody on, I want them to talk. I don't want to talk. But when I got on Yoko's show, I just rambled on for the whole show almost. I should apologize, but actually it seemed appropriate because I sensed that she wanted me to keep talking. Yeah. Finns are crazy. Some of them are still going on ski vacations up north. They are crazy, unless they're just doing cross country alone, that sort of thing, or they're with people they know to be non-infected, like in their family. But if they're going to ski resorts with, getting, because actually I've seen. I'm sorry, I'm looking at my security camera. I saw an alarm hit. A lot of people have said, how do people get sick when they're going snow skiing and they're outdoors? You can tell that they've never been snow skiing before. I mean, you're on ski lifts, you're right next to people, and when you're breathing hard, stuff's flying out. And also, what happens at ski resorts? People go into those restaurants and stuff, and take a break, and eat lunch or whatever, and everybody's together and they're hot and sweating, and it's actually a perfect environment for it to spread. Let's see, but yeah, Hong Kong will get hit. At least that they are doing it more on their schedule. If anybody has something that they want to say, please post it on the bottom. And then, yeah, I'm motor mouth sometimes, Tommy. But you notice I would, when I get somebody that comes on, unfortunately, a lot of people couldn't understand Maria for two things. One is the audio wasn't great for some reason. When I talked with her before we came online, it was pretty good. And then she has kind of a heavy Italian accent. And she's a geopolitical analyst in Italy. And we've talked for years about different things like Afghanistan and different things. My current take on Japan, Michael is asking, Michael Nita Dugan. I'm not in Japan. I get the sense that Japan is not taking as seriously as they should. And Japan's about to get hit. In the way that Chris Martenson would say, case, cluster, boom. That's what Chris Martin, I love. He's a good teacher. He's on Peak Prosperity, really good teacher. And he's super smart. Well, you can't be a good teacher unless you know your material, and he knows his material and he delivers it very well. And one of the things he'll say is case, cluster, boom. And he'll say it in every one of his shows. Actually, he's gotten to the point where he'll just go, oh, here we go, case. You know what comes next, and people are like getting T-shirts made, case, cluster, boom. And what he's saying is first you'll just see like one case there. Oh, there's a case in Kansas City or whatever. Oh, there's a case in Oklahoma. It's not a big deal. There's another case over in Orlando. Oh, there's a case in Los Angeles. It's just a few cases. It's not a big deal. A case in New York. Not a big deal. Oh, there's one up in Calgary. Not a big deal. Oh, there's 4 people that have it in Seattle. Huh. Interesting. It's just one little, it's just 4 people, and then it's like, oh, there's 7 people in New York have it. Still, it's not that many. It's only like 15 people now in total or whatever, and so people are still disregarding it, forgetting that this is exponential. And like cockroaches, we don't see most of the cases, right? Most of the cases are out there spreading and we don't see them. And they're doing it at this, it's multiplying. Not multiplying. It's going up logarithmically by, it's going up by a factor of about 10 about every 15 days. So in other words, if we have, say, 10,000 cases today in the United States, which will be a lot more than that, but let's just, I think it's maybe something, what's the case right now that we know of? I think maybe 10,000 that they're advertising. Let me see. 14,000, right? But we're not even hardly testing in the United States. And so in 10 more days, it will be about 140,000. But we know we've hardly tested any in the United States. And then in 15 days, it'll be about 10 times what it is now. So it's 14,000 in the U.S. now. 10 more days, 140,000. 15 days. And then in 15 days after that, 30 days from now, it'll be 10 times that again, 1.4 million. 1.4 million. But in reality, we know that we're not seeing most of the cases. That's a fact. And this thing is doubling every 4 to 5 days, right? Up by a factor of 10 about every 15 days. By May, everything in look, Italy is getting about 500 dead people a day right now at the current rate, right? And we've got like more than 5 times the population of Italy. So we're talking, I don't know, soon. It won't be long until we're 2 or 3 weeks behind Italy, something like that. It won't be long until we have 2,000-3,000 people dying per day in the United States. And we don't know where Italy's going to top out at. So we don't know where we're going to top out. Shelter in place. If you're not at your hard point now, go down and do it. And close the door and become one with Zen, right? Or start meditating or something. We'll fast together or something. We'll do something and we'll be fine. But the main thing is Reg is saying U.S. labs have tested 50,000 samples, but they were flown in from Italy. Alrighty then. And let's see, Tommy Barrios, wife who works at local Kroger, says, Kroger's a big grocery store, says they are considering shutdown to restock and then enforce strict limiting. Right. Yeah. So there you go. And UK, Caroline Spence Thomas is saying UK is screwing up as badly as the United States. New Mexico, hello, New Mexico. I'm glad that Brian Kolfage has been working on the wall, but our government is so remiss. It comes down to people like us. It comes down to Brian, and 250,000 people have donated to helping him build a wall on our southern border. Why is it down to us? Why didn't our United States government stockpile masks? Which brings up another thing. It brings up another issue, price gouging. I know that's a very emotional subject, especially I grew up in Florida, so hurricanes that come in, and I've seen a lot of disasters around the world, and price gouging is a fact of life. But in reality, if you really look at it, is it really such a bad thing that it happens? I know you might go, whoa, what did you just say? But actually, when you hear the argument to allow prices to set themselves, actually, it can make a lot of sense. For instance, masks. If we knew that that you're able to charge whatever you want for mask at some time, it could be 10 years from now, then you may have just, speculated and bought, 1 million masks. You may have bought stock in 1 million masks. You know what I mean? That they're sitting in some warehouse in Colorado or something, just waiting for the day, right? And they may have sat there for 10 years. And then, but now you've got 1 million masks that you can sell later at any price that you want. But remember, those masks will not stress the system because they would not even exist if you didn't speculate and have them in a warehouse, right? Or take the really long drive across the country to deliver them somewhere, right? So, there's all kinds of reasons why allowing the market to set its prices that actually make perfect sense. For instance, these toilet paper runs, so to speak. The toilet paper runs, those crack me up like crazy. The toilet paper runs. If the stores are allowed to just jack up their prices, people will be like, what? $10 for a roll of toilet paper? I'm only going to have one. You know what I mean? And then everybody would self-ration, right? And somebody would go, I'm poor, I can't afford it. You say, well, use your hand. Go wash your hands. I'm seriously, toilet paper, no matter which way you look at it, is not a necessary survival tool. It's just not, period. So let's see. Respirators and filters are still available online. Get one. Absolutely. And this is the kind I use. It's much more cost effective. It's better and it's much more comfortable. I'm using a 3M 7502, and everybody I've told to get one has been able to get one very quickly. And and it's much more cost effective. It's much more comfortable, and it seals on my face. It's a really great mask. I highly recommend it. The 7500, there's different series that are also good, or but the 7500 series, and this is 7502. 7501 is the small one. 7502 is the medium size, and 7503 is for people with giant heads. So if you got a head that's so big that needs to be palletized, to get on an airplane with it, then get the 7503. If you got hey, Elijah Murphy, you out there, big head? We had this one guy when I was a Green Beret. He's on one of the other teams. He was on a different team. He's a good friend of mine. And he was, his head was so big that every time we had a briefing, it'd be like all these Green Berets would be in these briefings about, doing a parachute jump or whatever. And at the end of the briefing, it would be like, Mike Davis would often do it. Okay, and here's the plan for palletizing Murph's head. And Murph would be like, okay, that's enough about my big head. Johnny Silver says, wipe your ass with your hand. People have a hard enough time washing their hands. Man, if people can't wash you got to be crazy. You should wash your hands just as good. Are you kidding? Seriously. You think people can't wash their hands? Come on. Yeah, they can. They can wash their. That's another thing that's been, don't tell the kids to social distance. It's going to scare the kids. Well, hell, that's what we're trying to do. You know what I mean? That's what we're trying to do. Like when my grandmother telling me, the carnival people are in town. Be careful, they'll kidnap you. Well, in the United States when she was growing up, carnivals did kidnap kids. You know what I mean? It's like in India, when you go there, they'll have a lot of the kids, they'll put makeup on the kids' faces to make them look ugly so they're not cute. They're trying to keep people from kidnapping them, evil spirits away or whatever. They're also trying to keep people from kidnapping the kids. I don't know if it'll work. They still know the kid's cute under the makeup. But anyway, but the point is, again, like I was saying before, when my grandmother would say, get out of that lake, boy, the gators will eat you. The alligators really will eat you. You know what I mean? Am I scared of gators would eat me? Yeah, well, they would. You know what I mean? And that big dog down the road, Czar, with 3 legs, he got hit by a car. Would he bite you? Yeah, Czar would bite you, And so what's wrong with that? Fear is normal. It's like, if you're not afraid of climbing a tree, that's why some kids just don't make it. That's why they just don't make it. Hey, Esperanza, Guadalupe. Yeah. Okay, what does Pamela say? I think Europe and Finland. Almost every bathroom here in Finland, yeah, you are in Finland, has them. They are connected to, your comment shot up here. We are connected to hot and cold water, even in public bathrooms, most of them. We just moved. We have a sauna in our unit, and it is wonderful. Yeah. All right. Fear sells, makes money. I don't know. There's a lot of things that mean. You know what else makes money? Carmen Shepherd, feel good stuff. If I come in here and go, it's not a big deal, here, buy some stock, blah, blah, blah. It's like, what? Because actually, the mood that puts people into buying is feeling good, not the mood that I'm putting them in. If you look at my donations, it's like practically zero. It's about 5 in the last week, right? So it's like almost nothing. It's almost nothing. That's just, no. Every time I would come on in the wars, for instance, and say, it's bad news from the wars. I've even told my lawyer at one time, I was like, watch this. I'm about to deliver bad news. And I'll show you, here's the graph on my donations. Watch what is about to happen. And he'd be like, oh, you're right. It just, goes right off. I'm like, yeah, it does. It is directly connected, not indirectly. You don't have to wait for a week. You know what I mean? It's just like, it's like, okay, are you about to deliver bad news? Because it's going to cost you money. And it does. It really does. I'm surprised I'm still able to eat. What site am I getting respirators from? Where did I get this? I got Amazon, I think. I don't know. I got a long time ago. I think Amazon. You can get them on Amazon. They're all over Amazon. And there's not just this model. There's other 3M models. And then there's Gerson. My EOD buddy's got Gerson. He said they're better. I don't know. And, but, he's usually got really good advice. And, And then there's different models as well. I like those. I got a bunch of the other ones here, but I had a bunch in advance. I had masks before anybody ever heard of this disease. I had loads of masks before. I had this kind. I don't like them, man. They're uncomfortable. I guess women could use these as bathing suits or something. I don't know. They're not comfortable. I'll tell you that much. I don't like them. I like this one. Much better. Much better. And so, hello from Camp Lejeune. That's a Marine base there in North Carolina. Hope y'all Marines, or if you're actually a Marine or a Marine family, thank you very much for the warnings and information. I took heed when you first started warning and upped my hurricane stash. Good. My husband still has to work, but have a decontamination routine in place. Most excellent. Everyone else in my house is on lockdown. Perfect. Yeah. And, yeah. Excellent. Excellent. That is really good news. Let's see. All right, let me try to answer as many questions as possible here. I'm looking for Graham C. Holloway. Time to be visually responsible, and cleanliness isn't an option anymore than covering a cough and turning away. Never mind, England expects, the world expects even morons to be socially respectful. No one smokes in public places. So that worked. Oh, yeah. Actually, interestingly, like my friend in Los Angeles, she told me, was it yesterday, that people were still out at the stores and stuff without masks on. Unbelievable. And yeah. Yeah, and those are the ones in California that are always telling us, like, don't pollute the world. The whole world's going to end from global warming. Let me tell you what, the global warming thing, it may actually be true. And actually, you've never heard me say that it actually might not be true. You've never heard me say that, because there's some, I'm actually unclear on that. It may actually be happening, but that's not the point. But the point is that the solution is for America to give up all of its power and money. You know what I mean? That's not a solution for me. In countries like China, we've seen how much they lie right now. People like me and Maura Moynihan and, at least a million others have known how bad China is. They'll never make an agreement that they stick to, and India too. I know we're cozying up with India, and I want to as well, but they will not stick to their agreements. They'll stick to them more than China does. I believe that, but not like they're not. It's not like we're dealing with Japan. Japan will stick to their agreements. Germany will stick to their agreements. UK will stick to their agreements. Denmark and Sweden and Poland, they'll stick to their agreements. I wouldn't count. We know China is not going to stick to an agreement, period. Russia will not stick to an agreement, period. India, if they can weasel out, they will, for sure. So sorry, my Indian friends, but my American friends, they expect me to be on recon here and come back with the just the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. Let's see, Paranat, and let's see, Thai already canceled flight trip to LA, transit Taiwan last month. Thank you for your kind information. Now lock down and stock up and stay home better. Friend in BKK, that's Kring Tep, that means Bangkok. She's in Thailand. Good. Everybody who wants to be in Thailand needs to already be in Thailand. And if you're in the south of Thailand and you want to be in the north, you need to get up here right now. If you're in the north of Thailand and you want to be in the south, highly suggest you cut off my video right now and you go. You know what I mean? Because this is coming soon. And remember, Melinda's asking my decontamination routine. When I go out, like if I go for a walk, I'm just looking at security. If I go for a walk and it's just around with my dog, I don't do decon because I'm just outside in the sun. It's not a big deal. But if I go to a store, which isn't very much, and a lot of that's just to go around and look and see what's going on, because I need to know atmospherics. I'm watching here as a writer, actually. But Come back for if it's very sunlight, I'll stay out in the sun for a while, and I'll let the sun. That's why long sleeves. Stay out. I don't take this shirt. Never leaves. The clothes I'm wearing never leave here. They stay here. So anything I'm wearing inside of my home never leaves my home. And then when I come home, if I've been just walking around, it doesn't matter. But if I go to a store, I'll spend a little time in the sunshine, let the sunshine hit me, and then I'll change outside. Because I've got a way to do it, and it's private, and leave my clothes outside and leave them in the sun. But often I don't even have to do that, because if I'm in the sun long enough, then it's not a big deal, because the sun will smoke this stuff. UV will deactivate the viruses. Dojo says they say the statistics in China are higher for in China, but the Chinese statistics are just completely unreliable. I still keep these. If journalists want to be taken seriously, they will stop saying now the rest of the world has overtaken China on numbers. It's like, how do you know what China's numbers are? You don't, and you don't. Stop saying them. Stop saying them. Stop comparing numbers to numbers that we know are wrong. Journalists, you just lose. I actually strike people's names, like, okay, block them. If you want to get daily updates on something that's important to you, like for instance, H5N1, which I have a Google alert for. That's another disease that's out there. I'm just keeping my eye on it. That's all. But because it's potentially serious, but I'm just watching it. It's not an immediate thing. But you can use Google Net Alerts. Intelligence agencies in the past, or still, they have people on their staffs. Let's say if they're at the embassy and wherever country, right? They'll have people in that do nothing but go through all the local newspapers, magazines, watch television, listen to the radios, and anything of interest, they're taking notes, and they build and they do daily briefings and that sort of thing, right? United States does it, other countries do it. So it's a way of open source intelligence, but open source intelligence is useless if you can't somehow pull it together, which is really expensive, right? In the past, it could be hugely expensive, for instance, for the United States to have people all over the world that, in every country that are going through the news in local language every day and looking for stuff. Hey, there's a report of a disease in several villages. That's surveillance, right? That's what the CDC needs. Now you can use it. For years, I use Google Net Alerts. So for instance, H5N1, go into Google and go to Google Alerts and put your own name in as an example. Put your own name in, and then anytime your own name is mentioned around the world, you'll get the links. It'll send you the links. So now every time H5N1, which is not this disease, it's another one. Every time that gets mentioned, I'll get a bunch of links every day, right? So if it starts to uptick, then I'll see. And a lot of people are like, hey, you always tell me that you see all these articles that I send you, and it's like, yes, because I use Google Alerts. You know what I mean? So every day I get all these emails come in with different stacks of alerts on different things. So yeah, it actually, some of the people that were stalking me years ago, they got very upset because they realized when I was counter striking on them, I was so effective. They're like, and they would be publicly talking about it. They would be like, how does he, every time I show up, I get the editor gets a letter about something, right? In my past, right? And one of them finally figured it out that I use Google Net Alerts. So every time these people that would attack me and stab me in the back, especially from the McChrystal area, I put them on Google Net Alerts. Every time their name pops up, I attack them, right? So it's like 10 years later, I'm still attacking them. And people are like, you hold a grudge. I'm like, not really. These are heads on stakes. You know what I mean? And it's really reduced the amount of people I have to fight. It's, if you do it correctly, then you don't have to fight as much. You just have to fight hard and publicly on some, and then it reduces the amount of fighting you have to do. And so you don't have to waste as much time. Let's see. What Catherine is saying. Let's see, what's Ewan? Ewan's here. Hey, Ewan. Ewan Kitmoon. Teresa, I hope you can wear a mask in the hospital. What did Teresa say that made Ewan even say that? Let me try to scroll up. Here's Kenny saying something. What are your thoughts on private sectors helping out? Elon and GM wants to build ventilators. Should more corporations get involved? Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. In fact, President Trump just came out about 48 hours ago, right? And because the president of the United States has authority to like repurpose. I mean, we can repurpose all kinds of stuff in the United States if it really gets down to an emergency of this level. And so certainly, yeah, I mean, we have so many just top tier engineers and oh God, we got so many brilliant people in the United States that can do so much stuff. I mean, it's after 9/11. Many people are like, oh, the United States economy will collapse now because, so many of our smart people were in the Twin Towers and then there's like nobody smart left, basically. There was people saying stuff, they were not exactly like that, but almost like that on major news networks. I was like, they're not very well educated saying that, are they? They must think in their little cocktail circles that the only people that are educated work in New York City in some high rise. It's like, I've been all over America. And let me tell you what, we are so deep on the roster on skills. It is like mind boggling. We've got so many engineers out there that can do so much stuff and so many subspecialties of subspecialties of subspecialties. We got people that, specialize in green electrons almost, you know what I'm saying? But I mean, we've got people that really we got something for everybody. You know what I mean? We can certainly repurpose. That said, I don't believe all this nonsense that we're going to suddenly cure this. That doesn't pass the sniff test. If we were going to suddenly just cure this by throwing money at it, we would have cured the HIV and the SARS thing. Well, there's no vaccine for HIV or SARS. 39 million people have died from HIV-related issues like AIDS. There's no vaccine for SARS. And every time, if you're in Hong Kong or Singapore or Taiwan, like when I was just on the phone with Katadyn water filter people in Singapore, they were like, the guy was like, SARS, we remember SARS. And Steve Bannon said it on a show just yesterday or so. He's like, because, Steve Bannon used to work in China and Hong Kong and whatnot. And he knows over here, SARS, like that's a wake up call. That's like a 9/11 wake up call for New Yorkers. I mean, when you go, when you talk about SARS, not necessarily so much in Thailand, but over in Hong Kong, it's like snap, you got their attention. And so when it came to this, they're like, SARS, boom, we're on it. You know what I mean? They didn't have to be told to wear masks. But yeah, there's so much. We've got such a deep roster of skills and abilities. That said, we don't have the ability to just snap our fingers and cure even huge diseases. If we could, there would be no cancer, right? And we can't. We haven't cured Lyme disease, and that is really serious. We haven't cured a whole host of heart disease. There's so many things, diabetes. There's so many different things that we haven't cured, and that we don't have vaccines for. So this idea that we're gonna, but it feeds into calm everybody down. We're gonna have a vaccine soon. I'm the opposite. I'm like, tell people the truth. The people that are gonna panic are gonna panic anyway because they're little panic monkeys, right? So the panic monkeys are gonna panic, but the rest of the people, which is most of us, like me, we want the truth so that we can plan for it. So I'm searching for the truth, and I'm just going to throw the truth out there as I can find it. And the panic monkeys are going to panic. And that might be a message that I need to look at here. Let me see. Okay. No, we're good. Okay. Yeah, panic monkeys, they panic. And speaking of which, panic are those monkeys in Thailand where is that? Is that Ayutthaya? Or Lopburi? Where is that? Where's the monkeys? I've been there. Anyway, they're used to tourists that aren't there now, and apparently monkeys are having a war. Speaking of Ayutthaya, in India, there's an Ayutthaya Thailand, there's Ayutthaya India as well, right? And there's about to be a big Hindu pilgrimage to Ayutthaya, right? And the prime minister is trying to get people not to do this pilgrimage, but it's in Uttar Pradesh. I've been to Uttar Pradesh. It's the biggest state in India, or the most populated state. And it's got about 250 million people, right? Is that right? It's huge. I mean, it's like 250 million people. I mean, I was chasing cannibals there, actually. And that was one of the places. And so Uttar Pradesh, he's in this difficult position, as every leader is right now. If he orders them to stop, they're going to be really upset. And if he doesn't order them to stop, he's going to be guilty of helping spread this disease. And so he's in this political bind that so many politicians are in right now, and including President Trump. It's very difficult. What do you do? I mean, you do this, then this is going to get hurt. You don't do this, the disease spreads faster. Was there an album called Panic Monkeys? Michael needed. I thought I just made that up. Or actually, it's a term I've used for years. I didn't just make it up. Let's see, Larry. Martial law coming to Illinois. National Guard have been called up. I wouldn't doubt it. Petra DeBays. In our town, the mayor has repurposed the hotels in case the hospitals can't come up with less than urgent cases here in Belgium. I would imagine. Because I've called. Yeah. I thought you were joking, but panic monkeys are. I've actually used that as a joke for years. Actually, I've often. I'm going to write it down because it's kind of a funny term. But when I see people panicking, if you've ever seen monkeys panic, you'll see what I'm saying. But yeah, I think in the United States soon we're going to see like hotels and schools, of course, that will have to be used as hospitals. The MASH units from the military is just, we're not going to have enough. I mean, that's just the way the math doesn't work out. The math just doesn't work out. The best thing we can do to slow this bad boy down is to self-isolate. I don't, Zeffarano del Toro, I don't know what that is. Please always leave a one-sentence description of any link that you put up. I'm not going to delete it. But just please leave so that people know if they actually want to click through or not, is what I'm saying. Cynthia Wood, they're saying that it lives on surfaces for a long time, mask and gloves, if out in public. Yeah, definitely. Yeah, and that's why I wear gloves also when I'm in public. I was told that by a journalist in Hong Kong just this morning that even still, as people are flying in, they still have to put their fingers and do the fingerprint thing as of like yesterday. That's unbelievable. They're still making people do, when you come through immigration, you have to put your fingerprints on that's unbelievable. What better way to spread the disease, Welcome to Hong Kong. Have some death on your fingers. All righty. Hello in Alabama. Stuart's asking, when will the Thailand border be shut down? They should have shut it down a long time ago. I don't know, but Thailand's about to get smashed. And the math is, how many cases are there in Thailand right now? It's got to be getting close to 300. Let me see here. Thailand, Australia. Look at all these countries with over 500, like Israel 677, Brazil 621, Ireland 557, Greece 464, Czech Republic, Czechia 694, cruise ship 712, Portugal 785, Canada 872, Malaysia 900, Japan 943, Denmark 1225, Sweden 1439, Norway 1781, Belgium 1795, Austria 2013, Netherlands 2468, United Kingdom 2716, Switzerland's 4164 in Little Switzerland, South Korea 8600, France 11,000, United States 14,000, vastly understated, Germany 15,320, Spain 18,000, Iran 18,000, who knows what the truth is, Italy, 41,000. China still lying at 81,000. Still lying their butts off. And where's Thailand? Thailand should be more around 300 or something like that now. Let's look down here. Thailand, 272. Saudi Arabia, 274. Romania, 277. Bahrain, 278. 311 in Indonesia. I don't believe that in Indonesia. Wow, 267 in little Estonia. How did Estonia get jacked up so quick? Egypt, 256. You know that's going to go crazy in Egypt. Peru, not going to be able to handle it. Philippines, no way. 217. Russia, 199. India saying 194. You think I believe that, India? Because I don't. India, Germany, 16,000. Uta is saying 634. Now, keep in mind, this is increasing by a factor of 10 about every 15 days. So in 2 weeks, Germany will be more like 170,000 in 2 weeks. And in 4 weeks, about 1.7 million. So you won't be looking at the United States news anymore. Because you'll be looking at what's going on outside of your window. Stock up on food. Do it now. Absolute minimum 1 month. Absolute minimum 1 month. And that is insanely low inventory level, I believe. Unless you're up deep in the woods of Alaska or Montana or something. Brett is saying, I'm in UK and everything is mayhem here. Yeah, people like Brian Kolfage, who's been building the wall, they've been saying he's crazy. He ain't crazy. Brian ain't crazy. And all those 250,000 people who've donated to build the wall down on the border, they ain't crazy. They were smart. And everybody's calling them racist and everything else. And all of us who've been telling Europe, do not open the floodgates for everybody to flood in from around the world. You are insane. Sooner or later, the conditions will be ripe, and they are now ripe. They are ripening. They'll be super ripe very soon for utter chaos on your streets. Lots of bloodshed, completely not from the virus, but as a result of the virus. So all these people suddenly from all over the world that don't have jobs, guess what? They're yours. You adopted them. But countries like Poland did not do it because Poland is Poland, and they stayed smart about it. Japan was smart about it. They didn't do it. Czech Republic was smart. They didn't do it. Slovakia was smart. Hungary was smart. Romania, listen, I don't know how it's going to fare for Romania, though. How are my friends in Romania doing? But, Poland won't have a civil war from this. But I'm telling you, it's going to be bad for Europe. It's going to be bad. France, Netherlands, Belgium, Germany, Italy, Spain, Denmark, you crazy people. What have you done? Switzerland, all the opening the borders to all these people around the world that you don't understand. You just stocked your aquarium with trouble. You are about to have some real trouble, and you don't have guns, most of you. Yep. Brian Kolfage, you was right. Steve Bannon, everybody says he's crazy. He's right. Michael.Yon, well, that guy. Let's see. Eating one meal a day when we have food for a long... eating one meal a day is easy. Cynthia, I'm glad you brought that up. Cynthia Wood, if it gets down to people are short on food, come on. I'll start fasting with you. We'll talk it. We'll just go live and we'll just talk about it. Because I'm telling you, when you get hungry, one of the things that can make your hunger go away is talking. Just talking. Talk. And chitter chatter. And literally, I swear, your hunger will go away. And I can get you through it so that you'll get by on a lot less food and you'll actually be quite happy, actually. And if you're a fat American, look, I got too much fat. If you lose, it's too easy. You'll just go right down, go down in size. Cool. And good to go. And so all the, lose weight, burn up your fat, don't have to go outside and die from this or spread it to other people or whatever. Yeah, Norway's totally screwed up. I love Norway, but man, y'all screwed up. Hey, where's Jeff? Jeff on here somewhere? Kazi Messiah saying, Jeff Castelluccio, you can make a mask if you are not a medical worker. Where's Jeff at? My friend Jeff. I didn't see him leave a comment because there's so many. Hey, there's my friend Ward Smith. We grew up together. What do you do with your 3M mask when you return home? Do you leave it outside, bring it inside, and disinfect? I leave it outside. I'm in Thailand, which is Ward, I live in Chiang Mai. Ward and I grew up in Winter Haven, Florida together. We were neighbors. We used to build tree forts and stuff together. It's a wonder we're even alive. All the explosives we made and stuff. And when we were like 10 years old. But I'll just leave it outside in the sun because the weather here is it's like Winter Haven. It's like Winter Haven is Central Florida. It's for people that don't know. It's hey Ward, did you know that the person who first noticed this was from Winter Haven? Her name is Sharon. Oh Lord, I'm sorry, I've forgotten her last name. Sharon Sanders, I think. She's got a site called Flu Trackers. Hey, shout out to Sharon in Winter Haven. You were on the front line. Why is it we got these people from Winter Haven like that? Lots. It's the water or something. Michael in Thailand, how many months to stock up? You can please suggest. I would say absolute minimum 1 month. Absolute minimum 1 month. Realistically, 4 months. That's what I would suggest as your basic level is 4 months. Remember, UK and others are telling, for instance, old people, be prepared to not go out for 4 months. And then, like 2 sentences later, forgetting what they just said, they'll go and make sure don't hoard. Shop enough for only 1 week. You're like, hello, Rambo. That means they got to go out 16 times. How many weeks are there in 4 months? Anyway, stock up. You can order online. And if they don't want to send you the inventory, they know how much they got in their warehouse. They know how much is still coming, right? If you look at some of the inventory, I was in business before I went off and be a war correspondent, a cannibal hunter and all that. And these big businesses, not only will they see their inventory, but in the really big businesses, they often will see the inventory of their suppliers. Like it'll be on the same computer screens, right? So in other words, it'll be like, here's our inventory in this warehouse in Salt Lake, this warehouse in Kansas City, this warehouse in Los Angeles or wherever. And then it'll be like, oh, and upstream, this is their inventory. This is what I can order, right, from them. I can actually see inventory on that screen from my suppliers, right? So in other words, they know a lot more about inventories than you might imagine. They don't walk out and look at the shelves. You know what I mean? They can see a lot. And so if you order 20 pounds of grits and they're like, no, we have to ration. We don't have enough grits. Or they can go, oh, we got 3 train loads of grits. Okay, you can have 20 pounds. You want 40 pounds? You know what I mean? If they're not going to send them to you, they won't send them to you. So order what you're going to order online and get it. I highly suggest 4 months. I don't know if it's a bioweapon attack, Norman. It could be. I don't know. But, there's Jeff. It could be. But, again, like my sister's a veterinarian, and we were just chatting today. Even when she went to vet school, they warned her that the wet labs and the wet markets in China in particular are almost like biolabs for making this stuff, like natural disasters waiting to happen. And books that I've read on this sort of thing over the years, the infectious disease experts are quite clear about it. They're like, we're going to pay for these fresh markets, especially in Asia. In particular, they talk about China, but they're also here in Thailand, like in Bangkok or here in Chiang Mai even. I've seen it all over Asia, including China, Nepal, Thailand, Laos, Cambodia, Vietnam. I've seen loads of them, right? Myanmar, I call it Burma. There's these little almost like labs everywhere. So more than likely it just came spontaneously. I mean, there's no evidence that I've seen that China vaccinated their own people and then this came out. If they did, that would be direct evidence of a bioweapon. But I didn't see any evidence that they vaccinated their own people. Now, if you're really playing hardball and you don't care about your own people, and they don't, you might go, okay, let's call for fire on our own position, if you know what I'm talking about. Basically, call an airstrike on ourselves to get them. You know, I mean, in my conspiracy mind, I could see where China could actually do that. They could release a weapon first on their own people to make it look like we didn't do it, because look, it hit our own people first. And then, you know, as it rips through, then knowing that they've got, you know, 1.4 billion people or so coming up like a phoenix, you know, even if 200 million people die, that'll just be calling the herd for them. They'll still have too many people. So, I mean, but that's complete conspiracy theory. It probably came from Mother Nature. I don't know. Nobody knows. Hey, hello in New Jersey. Hello in Myrtle Beach. I don't know if it's biological warfare. I just don't know. Now, it's funny. There's a lot of people complaining that social media companies are shutting down people that are saying things that go against the narrative, right? The narrative coming from the officials, which, you know, some things, even me, like when people are coming up comparing it to flu. I mean, I'm not at the level of, say, Twitter, but I can do it on my own pages. I'm like, it's not the flu. I actually cut them down. So I'm actually at this point, and you know me, I'm not big on censorship, even on my own pages when it's ridiculous stuff. I usually just let it fly, right? I got wide open doors. I'm wildly First Amendment, right? But when it comes to just calling this the flu, I've actually started blocking people because it's like it's not the flu, and you're just going to get people killed with this nonsense. But weirdly, the disinformation is hugely come from our own government, like our Surgeon General saying don't wear masks. He tweeted it, and then he was out in front of the White House wearing his Navy uniform. Jerome Adams is his name, saying don't wear masks and this sort of thing. And now they're talking about MacGyvering. Now they're like, figure out ways to make your own mask. Yeah, exactly. This is a mask. It keeps me from talking into my microphone, but it also would keep me, when I'm talking, from spitting when I'm talking. Even that is a help. That's a help if we're talking. I'm not, you know, imagine I'm here and we can all see sometimes that the light's right. Pew, you know, there goes a cannonball. And now imagine you got a little breeze here, you know, pew, cannonball just went like, you know, 4 meters, you know, it's like, and hit him in the eye. That guy blinked and didn't even know why, because you just hit him with a death sentence. So yeah, wear masks if you go out. But at this point, we're getting to the point where you should really strongly hesitate on going out, except walking in like the sunshine and that sort of thing. Unless you have a mission essential reason to go out, like you don't have enough food, you should try to order online if you can. A lot of people don't have credit cards or whatever, but try to order online if you can. And if you have to go out to shop, you know, get enough. Any news from Russia? Very little. They seem, Jim Buckley, they seem to be kind of doing the Russia thing on information. Yeah, I saw that by Bill Gates. Have you seen, Brett is saying, have you seen the post gone about the virus mentioned in 2015 by Bill Gates? I don't know what you mean by gone. I mean, I saw him years ago talking about this. I know people hate Bill Gates. You know what? Bill Gates has been warning about this crystal clear. And you know what? The stuff he was warning about it long before this happened, crystal clear. You know, I know people hate him. He ain't exactly stupid, and he's not evil. And I don't like Microsoft, but he's not evil, and he's super smart. You know what I mean? And just because a lot of people don't like him doesn't mean he's wrong. And, you know, I don't know why. I don't dislike him at all. I don't see that he's done, what has he done that's bad for humanity? He's trying, you know. Cynthia Wood, yes, you're calling it. The government was full of misinfo. Makes me wonder why. They've known about the virus for a long time. Yeah, and also they just lied. They didn't losing face. Now, a lot of Asians will be like, Americans, you don't understand losing face. I'm like, you don't understand Americans if you're saying that. A lot of my Japanese friends have said it. Hong Kongers have said it. Thais have said it. When I was in Cambodia and Laos, every time, sometimes face will come up. I'm like, yes, we get it. Don't you understand? United States will go to wars for face. The reason we haven't left Afghanistan is face. The reason we stuck it out so long in Vietnam when it became obvious it was stupid was didn't want to lose face. At some point, this mask thing, the Surgeon General coming up, Jerome Adams and many others saying, you don't need masks. In fact, they tried to shame us. Jerome Adams needs to be fired. The United States Surgeon General, I will never, ever trust him. I will question everything he says. I will not take anything on face value from him. He's a known liar. He's given out information that may have already cost people their lives. He is pathetic. He needs to be fired. Anybody that comes out and just lies to the public like that needs to be fired. And so there you go. And he needs to be fired. And Jerome Adams lied. And so Wayshawn is saying Bill Gates did an AMA, which asked me anything on Reddit about the virus. Bill Gates, again, whether you like him or not, the man is smart and he's not evil. And he's been warning about this years. I've looked at his warnings. Man, I'll take accurate information from anybody I can get it from, and that includes Bill Gates. And I don't dislike him at all, actually. What's wrong with Bill Gates? Why do so many people hate the guy? Is it because he's so successful or something? I don't know. I don't know. I mean, I'm asking that honestly. I'm not asking that as a loaded question. But why do so many people hate Bill Gates? I mean, I just don't feel any dislike for him. I mean, I don't love the guy, but I don't dislike him. I mean, I think he's fine. I mean, it's like, do they resent him because he's so successful, or I don't know. Christian is saying, Christian Bergman in Norway, ja elsker deg. Do you think no Russians have traveled abroad since November? The answer you give will answer your question. I highly doubt the Russians have been grounded since November. Let's see. I mean, if you're saying that in a sense that this is a biological attack from Russia, I don't know. I mean, anything. This is the thing. Conspiracy theories are a dime a dozen, and some of them are actually true. But a lot of them don't make sense at all, and others, could be. I mean, yeah, it could have been a biological attack, obviously. But was it? Where's the evidence? I don't see any evidence of that. Dojo thinks Bill Gates is an alien. Well, he's a pretty smart alien, and he's not anti-human, so that's okay. He seems to be pro-human alien. Mike Kennedy's asking, what did Jerome Adams lie about? How about look up Jerome Adams with a J, actually, not a G. Like tweet on masks. Or just web search for Jerome Adams' statement on mask or that sort of thing. And you'll start to see all these statements by Jerome Adams that are like stuff from some drunk at a bar. You know what I mean? Like, you don't need masks. Who needs masks? It's like all these idiots. It's just the flu. You know what I mean? He didn't say it's just the flu, but he was telling people don't wear masks. As a Surgeon General, it's unbelievable. Yeah, he's pathetic. Yeah, he said don't buy masks. Now, all they has to do, all that the Surgeon General had to do was come up and go, you know what? We failed. The United States government just totally screwed up and we didn't stockpile masks because, we failed. And everybody would go, because we already know you failed. We already did it. So if you just come out and say it, we'll be like, well, it wasn't your fault, Surgeon General. You weren't the Surgeon General then. You're only 45 years old or something. Or however old he is. I don't know. And he's still a naval officer. He can't be 70 or 80. But I mean, and we would just be like, oh, we understand. I mean, it's terrible. Why did we do this? Who's responsible for it? Thanks for telling the truth. We would just internalize it and go, okay, we have to correct this terrible thing. But now we see it, and people like Jerome Adams lie about it. And then some have tried to shame people for wearing masks. So if I'm wearing my masks in public, which I bought long ago when there was no shortage, then they would be like, why are you wearing a mask? You're just caring only about yourself. You know, he must be fired. I will continue to attack him until he's gone. I see no use for him whatsoever. I'm talking about Jerome Adams, the Surgeon General. Brett Ebb says, I am a transplantee and got told by the hospital not to wear a mask and just wash your hands, and now told to isolate from outside now. Well, I would say certainly isolate. Yeah, people are shaming people who wear masks because of that scumbag Jerome Adams. He will forever be known as a scumbag. You know, Surgeon Scumbag General Adams. He's just a scumbag. He's a lying piece of scum. He gave out information that was incorrect and probably already has cost people their lives. You can't account for it because nobody can say, okay, that tweet led to this death. But let's say he just reached huge numbers of people directly through his own words. Either I saw him, giving live interviews on video or tweeting and that sort of thing, or in writing. And then it gets picked up everywhere. And then so millions of people have seen his words as Surgeon General. Okay, let's don't wear masks. Okay, in Colorado, well, I don't know what's going on in Colorado. Well, I do. I mean, it's actually bad. I was reading this morning. But California just went on lockdown. Right. And now the government is saying, and now it's saying that they don't, you do need masks. Now they're saying you do need masks. Let's see. You and Kip Moon is saying older IT guys dislike Bill Gates because Microsoft was ruthless. Now there's conspiracy theory about him wanting global population control. I don't know. I don't know why people don't like him. I'm Bill Gates neutral. Samuel says, Mayday, Mayday. Thailand border is now closed. Are they? Did that just happen? Let me see. Post a link, please. Brett Ebbs says, I got warned by you and my partner from Asia to get prepared for all this. As it is. Yeah. Dojo says masks were pulled off the shelves in Canada back in January. I haven't seen any up north since. So ridiculous. It's just unbelievable. Let me see. Thailand borders closed. Let me see. Is that true? I'm not saying I shouldn't have read the comment without checking first, because I'm not saying that they are. I'm checking right now on a different screen here. Let's see. Or just post a link, please. If you Lao border crossing in that says it's reopening. Here's something from Bangkok Post, but from yesterday. Immigration denies rumors of border closures with Cambodia. They should be. There's different stories here. I don't see any immediate stories about Thai borders closed. They may exist. I don't have time to actually look right now. If they did close, I'll know soon enough. Doesn't matter to me. I'm not going anywhere. James is asking, what's the real casualty count in China? No, nobody knows. Nobody knows. I bet China doesn't even know. It's some very large number, I suspect. Look at the line of military. It looked to be army trucks maybe in Italy, filled with bodies. Have you seen that video? I mean, when people were first sending that to me, I'm like, is this a joke? And then I checked it out. And I was like, no, it's actually legit. Look at it. Look at in Italy. And so today the convoy is probably larger. How many died in the last 24 hours in Italy? Yesterday it was almost 500. It was like 470 something. So it's going to be significant. All right. Suparta saying, Martin, tourists need to show certificate from doctor to get in Thailand. Uta is saying Bavaria shuts down. I'm surprised they didn't shut down already. Bavaria is southern Germany. It's on the Austrian border. I lived there for about 4 years. Hello from Buffalo, Wyoming. Wyoming. Y'all should be safe. Just stay out on the ranch. Let's see. Where can I find video? I don't know what video you're talking about. So, let's see. The Thai border closed. Samuel saying the Thai border closed, posted by Thai Visa Center, a Thai Visa company sending out messages online. Oh, Thai, is it? You mean that site called Thai Visa? It's a bullshit site. They do put out some accurate information. I'm not saying that everything they put out is inaccurate, but the reason I say that is because they published some things that were inaccurate about me years ago. And I'm just like, what are these? So I checked into them. I'm like, who are these people that post on here? And somebody that's close to it said, anyway, I won't say it. I don't want to get sued, but let's just put it this way. I think they put out some accurate information, but I don't consider them wildly accurate because they put up stuff that was inaccurate about me without calling me. If they should, all they had to do, I'm easy to contact, right? All they'd have to do is say, "Hey, I'm so and so from Thai Visa. Can you confirm or deny this?" And I'd be like, "Oh, Thai Visa. I've seen your yes or no or whatever." And then they could say, "Oh, according to Michael.Yon, that's not true, but we think it's true or think it's not." You know what I mean? They could then, but they didn't even contact me. So I'm like, pathetic. I thought they were pathetic because they didn't bother to contact me, and I'm easy to contact. Let's see. Hello in Las Vegas. Been there quite a few times. I don't gamble, but Las Vegas sure is interesting. That's where I started writing my first book, Danger Close. Let's see. Italy is in bad. Christian is saying, Christian Bergman, Italy is in a bad way because they reacted late and have a very aging population. Yeah. Oh, Catherine's saying truck bodies. Where can I find the video? You just have to web search because I'm online, so I can't do it. Just web search like Italy, truck convoy bodies, something like that. It's going around everywhere. It's not. It's on news. It's not some backwater video. It's like all over the news. Brad Blauser. Hey, Brad. Brad's a man of action. Did you see this? A doctor in Monroe, New York reports 9 out of 14 COVID-19 tests. You mean Chinese disease? Test he sent to the lab on 3/16 came back positive. Says by 320, which was just by 320, 90% of their population of Monroe will have the disease. Around 35,000 people. And remember, the death rate, is going to lag behind the infection rate because it takes time. Some people are being hospitalized for up to a month. So think about that. Long hospitalization. Think about that. I mean, there's going to be a lot of triages that happen here. There's How about now? All right, let me go off. Maybe the sound is out. Oh, for a long time. All right, I'll go off for now. Sorry, we had a mutation. I seem to have muted that when I was trying to adjust something over there. My apology. All right, let me go off for now. I want to call. Well, we could keep going. If you want to keep going, we'll keep going. But we were blanked out there for quite a while. Let's see. How is it now? It should still be on now, though. All right. Sorry about that. All right. Any questions here that I can try to answer? Hey, Marie. Can't. Reading lips. Let's see. I'm sorry about that. That's my fault. Just remember, I'll repeat, you are on your own. You are 911 at this point. Don't do high-risk activities. Don't go riding your mountain bike down the hill. Don't do ride your mountain bike to save gas, but only if it's safe place to do it and you're a good rider. Wear your helmet and your gloves, of course. Don't do any high-risk activities. If you get hurt, hospitals are going to be full. And you know, there's going to be, you know, one good side to this could be that, okay, Wayshawn, what about now, Wayshawn? Maybe restart. I can restart. I'll just go off for a while, and I want to check some things that are going on, and I'll come back later tonight. Almost certainly I'll come back later tonight. But just remember that a lot of people are soon going to be hungry because they didn't prepare, because they thought it was just the flu, and they thought we were just panicking. And now they're going to be panicking because they're going to realize it's not the flu, and people they know are dead. And nursing homes are, if I had family in a nursing home now, I would strongly consider doing everything possible to remove family members from nursing homes. I think leaving somebody in a nursing home is a really bad idea. I think that this is going to disproportionately wipe out nursing homes coast to coast and throughout Europe and other parts of the world. I don't know how many nursing homes there are across Asia, but there's a load in the United States, like in Florida, and there's not going to be, those are going to be magnets for death. And so do whatever you can to get loved ones out of nursing homes. Cecilia Thompson is saying, have to call around because my son has a resting heart rate of 114. At 14, nervous to take him, so calling around to see if it's related to meds. Yeah, you need to get right on it. Yeah, that's obviously important. And that's another thing. Like, don't do anything that's going to get you hurt. Don't go mountain climbing. Don't be out there rock climbing right now. I mean, I wouldn't hesitate to go, hiking in the woods. I mean, that's probably perfect, but just don't do anything that's has a high probability of getting you hurt. If you've got a yacht, you might want to go stay on it. Teresa is saying, what do motorcycles have to do with anything? I don't know, but I can tell you one thing. Anything that's high risk, I would tend to be cautious. Like if you're riding motorbikes in Thailand, which is the most dangerous country in the world for motorcycles, look it up. You'll see. I mean, I've seen so many accidents here. I think you're crazy to get on a motorbike at this point. All right, let me go offline for now. I'm going to do some more studying. Oh, yeah. Actually, Jim Buckley's saying the virus doesn't pick and choose who to infect. And he's talking about prostitution, but he's saying it in a different sense. But obviously prostitutes are going to be a huge vector at this point. And that's something that a Thai doctor warned me about back in January, I think. I think the very first case in Thailand, I think, came from a brothel. I think it was the very first, and I did a live broadcast talking about it because I just got off the phone with him and I did a live. All right, I'm going to go ahead and go off for now. I'll probably be back later tonight, very high probability. And great talking with y'all. Thank you for support on my Patreon and PayPal and Venmo, and what else? Zelle, Bank of America, Mitsubishi Bank in Japan. I have Thai bank accounts. Nobody ever hits those anymore, but in my PO box, all that's if you look at the top of my Facebook page. But Patreon is great, or PayPal. Thank you very much. Mike out. And end broadcast.